First story, the Police Director of Operations, Dr. George Kofi Dampare, has been transferred from his position as one of 11 changes to the command hierarchy made by the Inspector General of Police. The changes, which appear to be aimed at addressing the recent rise in armed robbery, especially in Accra and Tema, will see Dr. Dampare reassigned as Director General Research and Planning. COP Christian Tete Yohunu, who was head of special duties, is now leading the Police Intelligence Unit. The latest shake-up is the second major operational change announced by the administration since IGP David Asante-Pietu was appointed early last year. Director of Public Affairs ACP David Eklu confirmed the transfers but said they are routine transfers.
There have been some changes in the Ghana Police Service among the top positions at the Director General, that's members of the Police Management Board, as well as some regional commanders. 7 officers have been affected. The first one is the Director General Operations, COP Dr. Dampare is now Director General Research and Planning. And the Eastern Regional Commander, DCOP Mr. Simon Apeku, is now coming to the headquarters as the Director General Operations. Those are the key changes. And then the Volta Regional Commander, DCOP Nana Asuma, is coming to Tema region as the Regional Commander. As per the message from the IG's office, it takes immediate effect. But it takes maybe a while because some are coming from outside Accra to the headquarters, others are moving from the headquarters to other places. So it might take a week for all of them to be in position. But technically speaking, these changes take immediate effect. This is not the first time that changes have taken place based on some operational exigencies, and it is expectation that these officers would also make further impact. But they have already been doing tremendous work, and they are also going to bring their experiences to bear in these new positions that they are moving to.
All right, so let's go through the entire list of transfers as announced by the Inspector General of Police earlier in the day. So we have COP Dr. George Kofi Dampare, who we have talked about, COP Christian Tese Yohunu, and then we have COP Reverend David Nenyi Ampa Beni. He is a regional commander, Central Region. He's now moving to Director General, or he becomes Director General Special Duties. DCOP Mr. George Tufo, who's regional commander, Tema Region, he now goes to the regional commander. He becomes the regional commander for the Volta region, and we'll be speaking a bit more about this transfer. And then DCOP Simon Afeku is now the Director General Operations. So he replaces Dr. George Kofi Dampare, who has now become the Director General Planning and Research. There are more of the transfers. We have DCOP Paul Manley Awini, who's the Director General PSO. He's now the Regional Commander, Central Region. DCOP Alphonse Edu Amankwa, who's a Commander CMTTU, Accra Region. He now becomes the Regional Commander, Eastern Region. DCOP Nana Asoma Hine, who's a Regional Commander, Volta Region, now becomes the Regional Commander, Tema Region. So he swapped places. And ACP Anderson Fosu Aka, who's a Commandant of the Police Academy, Accra, he becomes the Commander CMTTU, Accra Region. And then ACP Dr. Saibu Pabi Gareba at PIPS, National Police Headquarters, Accra, he becomes the Director of Operations, National Police Headquarters, Accra. And then ACP Eric Winful, Operations, National Police Headquarters. He goes to the projects. He heads a project at National Police Headquarters. So these are the 11 changes announced by the Inspector General of Police earlier today. Now, prior to the announcement of the shake-up, the Vice President, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, as head of the Police Council, chaired a meeting of the top security capos at the Flagstaff House to strategize on how to solve the alarming cases of armed attacks in the country. The meeting, according to Information Minister Mustafa Hamid, outlined a 7-point approach, including an enhanced Operation Calm Life, which will see the police joining forces with the military to restore peace and security in the country.
The Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, convened an emergency meeting of all heads of security agencies, service commanders, and ministers responsible for the interior, defense, national security, and also the senior minister to deliberate on the recent spate of robberies in our country. Number one, Operation Calm Life, which is the joint anti-armed robbery, military and police operations, has been enhanced with immediate effect. In this regard, there will be heavy military and police presence in our major cities across the country starting from today. Number two, there will be surgical operations in certain areas of our country based on intelligence, whose purpose shall be to flush out criminals and suspected criminals. There will be enhanced surveillance on financial institutions, forex bureaus, and money vending points across our cities. Government also directs that all financial institutions take steps to install CCTV cameras on their premises. Government will roll out a program to link all these CCTV cameras to a national operational command center. Number five, the Ministry of Energy has been directed to accelerate the pace of its cities and communities lighting program in order to light up our cities and communities, especially crime-prone areas. Number six, government wishes to remind citizens that the Road Traffic Act prohibits the mounting and use of sirens on private vehicles. The police are on the lookout for citizens who violate traffic regulations with mounted sirens. The only category of people authorized by law to use sirens are the president, the vice president, heads of security, ambulances, and bullion vans, and also selected categories of people who may be led by a military or police dispatch rider. Government regards the peace and security of our country as the basis for development and will stop at nothing to ensure that citizens are safe and go about their lawful duties in peace and tranquility.
Now, we'll be analyzing all the issues that have come up so far regarding the changes at the police command, as well as the issues that the 7-point agenda that's just been announced by the information ministry or by government. We will be doing that in a bit, but right now we're going back. We're bringing you the very latest update in the Tema robbery that happened yesterday. Management of Delta Agro, where an accountant was killed in an armed robbery Wednesday after making a bank withdrawal to pay salaries, has assured the workers they will have their salaries paid next Monday. The 4 armed men who attacked 54-year-old Ahmed Safieddin, a Lebanese, at the Tema heavy industrial area made away with the 200,000 cedis he had taken from the bank. There have been suggestions the company could have avoided the attack on its accountant if the payment of its workers was done electronically. Administrative Manager Seth Kako Ampoma explains the company has been contemplating the idea for some time now, but has since the attack resolved to complete processes for the workers to be paid electronically. Maxwell Agwagba has more.
Police forensic experts just finished gathering evidence from the vehicle the deceased was using before he was accosted by the armed robbers. I've been speaking to the administrative manager of the Delta Agro company, who says that they have completed processes to start paying their workers electronically.
The trauma, which the workers and management has gone through, we felt it's better to suspend the activities until at least we ease off a little by Monday.
We picking information that police officers would want to question the staff also. I don't know if that has come to your attention and whether that has happened already now that they are all on break.
That much I don't know. They were here yesterday. Whether or not they spoke to Whether or not they interview some of the workers, I'm not in a position to say that one. But they interviewed some of them at the gate yesterday. Yeah. So
I mean, this is just an aside to the main conversation. Indeed, we've lost a life in this. We know some of your workers also were looking forward to their salaries, but we understand that the robbers bolted with the 200,000 Ghana cedis. As an administrative manager, I know this is a difficult time for you. What explanations have been given to your workers? Have they been paid?
No, they've not been paid, but they've all understood the situation, and we've written to tell them that they should bear with us until Monday, when we will arrange to get them their salaries. So definitely their salaries will be paid on Monday. Yeah.
Why couldn't the workers, I mean, they are suggesting that the workers could have been paid electronically via mobile money or via their accounts. Any response as the administrative manager?
We've tried to convince management that workers should be paid electronically. In fact, the last 2 months thereabout, we nearly completed the arrangements for that, and then it was stalled. So I don't really know, but immediately after the incident, the management decided that henceforth all salaries should be paid electronically.
One of the workers I've been speaking to says he saw the vehicles the armed robbers were using parked here some minutes before the incident happened.
Yesterday in the morning, a wine-colored Santa Fe Nissan car with registration number, not too sure, but 2013, according to eyewitness, has parked down there. And there was a fair-colored young guy in the car. But the other guys has been also spotted earlier in the morning under the tree over there at the junction. Yeah. So as soon as our man, that is the late Alaji, who is a cashier of the company, hit this road towards this direction, the guys started following and shooting. You understand? Then the car moved in and blocked his way. The next thing they saw was that Alaji's car was moving in the opposite direction, that is in the reverse direction. Then they started shooting again. Then that was how the car went into the fence of Nexan's company. So at the spot, they realized the guys opened the boot and started taking something from it, which we believe was the money he took from the bank.
I think 3 years ago, the armed robbers attacked the company, but not individual. I think they came in the night and tied all the security people and penetrated the offices and take some money and go. And the second one, I think, is on 2015. That is 2 years ago. The same thing. They came here in the night, tied all the security people, and penetrate inside the office and take the safe and just dismantle the safe and take whatever they want to take. But this is the first time they attacked the accountant as personal as was outside. This is the first time they did it.
Well, staying with the crime situation, many citizens have registered their displeasure with the current security situation in the country. While some took to social media to vent their spleen, others called into radio shows to share their experiences. One female citizen decided to comment on the insecurity situation in an open letter to President Kofi. Here I accept.
Good day, Mr. President. Please, the last time I wrote you an open letter, it was on a similar subject, the murder of Major Mahama. I am here again writing you an open letter because I'm scared. I'm scared as a Ghanaian because I don't feel safe at all. I remember you promised me of tightened security both from internal and external attacks. Barely a year on, all I hear is one kind of killing or the other. Not a single day passes without news of somebody being murdered or killed. It's a common thing now to have armed robbers break into your home and murder you. Our homes are supposed to be our safe haven, but we are more scared sleeping in them. The lives of our loved ones always placed at the mercies of these uncivilized and merciless robbers. Mr. President, they sometimes even rape our wives, daughters and sisters in front of us. Armed robbers now attack us at our workplaces with impunity in broad daylight. They strip us naked if they have the luxury of time. They trace us from banks to our homes or offices and kill us even before taking our possessions, usually money, away. Mr. President, you can be killed just for passing by a robbery scene. Innocent lives are being lost every day. Mr. President, I can go on and on to express my thoughts, but that won't be necessary because you can read the underlying fact. I am scared. If you're really in charge, Your Excellency, let me see it. If you're really in charge, Mr. President, let the robberies end. If you're really in charge, Nana, please let me not be scared. Thank you.
And we'll be reading a lot more of your concerns on social media subsequently on Joy News Prime. We're taking a break here on the bulletin for now. But still ahead in the bulletin, 3 illegal miners sentenced in Kofi for mining in the Tiwa Forest Reserve. And then in business, monitoring task force of GRA grants 3-month grace period to suppliers of products to be affected by tax stamp policy implementation as the policy rolls out successfully on Thursday. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit. Kumasi, Tamale and Takrady will be the next regional capitals after Accra to have bus rapid transit services. Transport Minister Kofi Ofori Esiama at a sword-cutting ceremony to start construction of a BRT terminal at Tudu in the Central Business District of Accra. The government wants to transition away from the use of small to medium-sized buses, which are less efficient and in most cases congest the road. The contractor, Nemo Construction, has up to March 2019 to complete the terminal, which will serve as a major transfer hub for intercity and intracity transport services. Efwa Evans Chinri reports.
According to the Minister for Transportation, Kofi Ofori Esiama, the importance of transportation and for that matter road transport, which currently serves over 95% of all domestic transport services. While the population in major cities is increasing at a much faster rate than anticipated, the built-up areas are also increasing. This development has put a strain on general service delivery. The transport environment in Accra, as we all know, is characterized by heavy congestion, particularly during the peak periods, and inadequate facilities for pedestrians and cyclists, among others. Commuters on a daily basis have to endure the long waiting periods at the various terminals just to travel through congested central business areas of the city. Infrastructure such as roadways, bus terminals, bus stops, among others, are woefully inadequate in our cities. The project is therefore intended to provide adequate and central terminating and loading space for buses, which now enjoy very significant patronage. The Minister for Transport said government's policies to ensure that about 80% of the commuting public travel by some means of transport systems, specifically with respect to the use of high occupancy buses.
Government is therefore determined and committed to solve this problem, which is confronting our urban transport system, and we will continue to rely on the cooperation of stakeholders to make sure that this thing happens. Due to the central location of this terminal, I'm sure that when it is completed, to serve almost all the Ayalolo bus route to the central city, look at Amasama to Accra, Adenta to Accra, Kasua to Accra, and also Tema Nungwa to the central city. This project therefore supports government policy to develop ultramodern commercial facilities in order to provide the quality of services passengers require. The completion of this terminal will therefore help to improve transport services and the full operationalization of Adenta to Accra BRT corridor. This terminal will also serve as a major transport transfer hub for intercity and intracity transport services.
The contractor has up to the end of March next year to complete this terminal. This terminal would also serve as a major transfer hub for intercity and intracity transport services. The Metro Mass Transit Limited and the BRT services would all operate from this terminal. Greater Accra Regional Minister Ishmael Lashiti said the project is aimed at bringing relief to urban road users.
These delays on our urban roads have prevailed for a long time. So this initiative undoubtedly will bring a relief to urban road users. As a government, we cannot afford to let this project fail due to our actions and inactions. And that is the reason why I am happy to be part of today's sword cutting ceremony to ensure we provide the needed infrastructure to support the BRT system.
The ultra-modern terminal, which differs in size and scope, will have spaces for banks, restaurants, shops and offices.
You're still watching Joy News Prime, and we're going back to our earlier story, which has to do with the security situation in the country. We just learned today that the Police Director of Operations, Dr. George Akufu Dampare, now the Director General of Research, is now the Director General of Research and Training in a shake-up in command positions that affected 10 other corps in the wake of recent armed attacks. As the public anxious about the safety. Let's quickly go through the list before I bring on Adam Bona, our security analyst, to speak to the issue. So, as you can see, COP Dr. George Akufu Dampare, he was the Director General of Operations. He's now the Director General Research and Planning. COP Christian Tete Yehonu, Director General Special Duties. He's now the Director General Police Intelligence and Planning. COP David Nenyi Ampa Benny is the Regional Commander of the Central Region. He's now the Director General Special Duties. And there are more. We have at least 8 more of the transfers to share with you. And we'll have those coming up in a bit. Okay, so we have the DCOP George Tufo, the Regional Commander Eastern Region, who's now the Director General of Operations. DCOP Nana Asuma Nine, the Regional Commander for the Volta Region. He's now the Regional Commander for the Tema Region. All right, so now let's get to go on Skype. Joining us on Skype right now is security analyst Adam Bona. He's to help us better appreciate first all of what must have informed the changes in the police hierarchy, and then whether the 7-point plan announced by the Information Minister would make a difference at all. Thank you, Mr. Bona, for making time for us once again. Now, what do you make of the changes to the command structure? What must have gone into the decision?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished viewers. This is standard international procedures to, in terms of measures usually put in place in, during situations like this. And so I actually saw this coming. Probably I thought it should have been, maybe, I'm sure the police had in mind, to do this maybe long before, but I am not surprised at the shakeup. And so this is to ensure that the rest of us, the ordinary Ghanaian, we are kind of the confidence we are supposed to have in the police, our own confidence level, increases. And so I am not surprised.
All right. Now, I'd like us to start with the transfer of the Director of Operations, Dr. George Akufu Dampare. Why is he being moved?
Well, the police would have their own reasons, but I would suspect that if you look at the most of the crimes we have that have been recorded had to do within his operational area, and so during situations like that, even though he might not have done anything so serious, he needs to be moved and someone else brought in to reassure the populace.
Mr. Bona, is that transfer supposed to mean that he's not on top of the operations role?
It is a yes and no. It is a yes and no. If you look at the command structure of the Ghana Police Service, you would have the operation, someone who is in charge of national operations, and at every region, they would have someone who is a regional commander, and within even Accra, we have someone, if you know, what's his name, Kofi, who is in charge of Greater Accra, operations. And so, yes, you will realize that all these people take instructions from the National Operations Director. And so somehow, I have always advocated that the position of the IGP should not be politicized. Let's have it just like we have done for the special prosecutor, just like the justices and the rest, and probably the Chief Justice. They should have tenure of office, because I suspect somehow you would have elements within the service who sometimes believe that if he goes early, I take his place. And so, well, these are some of the things, the dynamics we have to look at. And so there are so many things that come into it. If you look at, what is his name? I don't want to play the age card, but Dr. Dampare, age, probably there are other people who say, oh, I'm older, I'm this, I'm that. And so there were a lot of factors. It will be good to, for now, probably look at moving forward. Are we going to see crime rates reducing in the country?
All right.
I want to believe that if things are done properly, crime rate is likely to go down, because, if you look at September 11th, if you look at in other jurisdictions where some of these things might have happened, usually you expect some of this shakeup just to reassure the people that, you know what, we are in control. Believe in us. If you have some information with regards to crime, report to us and we are going to take action.
All right.
And
Mr. Bona, let's move on to one other. Now, Dr. George Dampare is now Director General of Research and Planning, a position previously held by DCOP Kofi Boakye, whose name is not mentioned in the list. What becomes of DCOP Kofi Boakye?
For now, I don't want to add to the speculation, but I do believe that the management of the Ghana Police, their management, should have some plans for DCOP, Commissioner of Police Kofi Boakye. I'm sure they might have some, a place for him in the next coming days or the next coming weeks. I'm sure they might take a decision to reassign him to an area that is going to be effective in dealing with crime. We know him. He's not new to all of us in this country. And so let's wait and see. I wouldn't want to add to the speculation. I wouldn't want to add to the rumor mill. But for now, whatever information I have, I cannot confirm. And so I would say that I would hold it for now and hope that the hierarchy, the top hierarchy of the Ghana Police Service, their management, they will continue to do what is expected. We find ourselves in a situation where those of us who speak on security, those of us who are knowledgeable in security and safety, we have to speak in a way that we have to reassure the populace that, you see, we can't throw our hands in despair. We need to be vigilant. Vigilant is key. We are 27, 30 million Ghanaians. If all of us decide to be alert, we are going to render these miscrimes, these organized crime or mobsters, we are going to render them inactive and unemployed. But if we continue to go around the way we used to do things, that won't help us.
Now, one other issue I'd like us to look at is the crime scene at the Tema robbery incident where we had the gentleman, the accountant, being shot dead. It appears it took the police a while before they got to the scene. The forensic experts went to the scene to secure the place. In fact, the place wasn't secured even after the robbery. Do you find that regular practice?
That is below any level 100 student doing maybe criminology or doing forensics, crime, forensics. You are taught. You might not be measuring in crime scene management, but you are taught some of the basics that when a crime happens, you cordon off the place. And if, how do we call it? It involves, using of firearms. You need to pick up the shells. You need to measure the diameter of the bullet holes. There are certain things you are supposed to do. And you know that Tema is very close to the ocean. And the ocean is one, element that destroys, evidence in a crime scene. And so the standard practice internationally, which I believe the then Tema commander definitely would have gone through before becoming a commissioner of police, would have been taken through, is to cover this vehicle, make sure everything is intact. Even that you tow the vehicle on a flatbed, you wrap it like a little baby to a crime lab where you then go into the proper, diagnosis. You go, you try to investigate every bit. Once the vehicle leaves, you now bring your team of field forensic or crime scene officers. What they do is they go on their knees, on their feet with detectives, trying to pick every minute evidence they could find at the crime scene to be able to catch the crime perpetrator. But unfortunately, it looks like we are, I heard it on your, Joy FM, that even the company drivers drove the vehicle to their yard. And I'm asking that how can this be right? And so I am hoping that the police hierarchy would investigate this. And if it's come out that someone did not do what is expected, the person should not be let go free. The person should be punished so that our, regional commanders and those who are supposed to be taking care of us at the various districts, at the various regions, they know that if I look elsewhere whilst crime is going on, I am going to be punished. Right. I think it's not just enough transferring or reshuffling. If some of, especially Tema, if you look at this incident and what has been reported, I find that very, 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 very unfortunate. A country that has been with 25 years, the last constitution is 25 years or 26 years, and we still can't get some of these basics right. I find that very repetitive.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adam Bona. Would like to leave it here, but thank you very much for being available to us to share with us these insights. We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime to bring you business news, and business news is coming to you a little later than usual, but business news comes up next. Stay tuned.
Hello, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining me on business. The task force for the implementation of the tax stamp policy has given a 3-month transitional period for suppliers to affix their stamps onto the affected products. The commission says it will then withdraw all such goods from the market. Leading member of the task force, Kwabena Donko, led the team to monitor compliance at certain points of sale in Accra. Ebenezer Sabote joined the team and has filed this report.
As part of the implementation activities, the Ghana Revenue Authority Task Force on the implementation of the policy embarked on a tour of some selected shops and point of sale in the capital. Leading member of the team, Kwabena Donko, announced a 3-month grace period for retailers and shop owners to ensure that all affected products such as tobacco, carbonated drinks, water, and some others have the tax stamps.
Assume that this product came from either an importer or manufacturer. So for that matter, the importer or from January 1st, they were supposed to affix the stamp. But these goods has come out on the market. So we're asking retailers that they should go to the nearest GRA office and acquire the tax stamp, excise tax stamp, which is free.
Okay, so what's the transition period if maybe in 2 months or a month you come and this thing is still here?
Once we have come here, we are trying to educate everybody. And once we have educated, and the next time that we come and it's not fixed, that's when we'll take an action.
And what would that next time be?
It can be, but specifically we are looking at about 3 months.
3 months. So we can say we've given them 3 months.
Once we are come here, next week we have been here. Next week, Monday, we will come. And if it's not that, it means that you are not ahead to our... Okay. So we are going around. It's a friendly education that we are giving to everybody.
According to him, the sanctions will apply after the Customs Division intercept any product without the affixed stamp.
Yes, if after the transitional period, if we find these goods on the market, yes, we will withdraw them from the market.
And when we withdraw them, where are you taking them to?
Definitely it will go to customs or GRA offices.
The team on the tour also identified that some shop owners who were not aware of the policy, even though they expressed their willingness to comply. E.M. Commodore Mensah is the retail manager for Airport Shell Mart.
And I'm talking as a rational businessman. The choice is for me to do whatever I have to do to make money. any obstruction, any temptation that will come my way, nobody should blame me if I sin.
But what we also say is that, Director, what we will say is that there is a law backing this exercise.
And I also said that every law should be enforceable.
It should be.
Otherwise,
and this one is enforceable.
Easily enforceable, if I should
And
add.
it is.
Okay.
It is, to the extent that we have given you a transitional period. A period within which we could sell those goods without any stamps. And we're saying that after the end of the transitional period, you will come to us, take stamps free of charge without payment of the additional taxes, and put the stamps on the product and then sell. What else could you have done?
Government has charged the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, to oversee the affordability of housing in Ghana. Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Eugene Entry, disclosed this at the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association's annual breakfast meeting. There's more in this report.
Many Ghanaians are marginalized when it comes to the acquisition of decent accommodation facilities. This is so because costs of building and rental are not favorable to the ordinary Ghanaian. According to the Ministry of Works and Housing, over 50% of Ghanaians live in substandard buildings. Speaking at the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association's annual breakfast meeting, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Eugene Entry, emphasized quality housing is equally as important as the issue of affordability.
It is good to always consider quality, but affordability is another factor, specifically using new technologies to deliver the desires of the populace, particularly the low-income group, the vulnerable and the excluded. The onus, therefore, lies on you, distinguished members of GREDA, to give up your best in safeguarding the interest of Ghanaians and making sure appropriate standards are complied with for our maximum benefit. In fact, Mr. Chairman, I am so elated that the association chose this year to reflect on homes and how it can make it better by considering the marginalized and the low-income earners in our society.
He also challenged developers to address the housing deficit, which currently stands at over 1.7 million units.
It is a well-known fact to all of us gathered here that the housing deficit in Ghana is estimated to be in excess of 1.7 million units. And this is expected to rise to 2 million housing units by the year 2020, if swift measures are not taken to address it. In addition to this huge housing deficit, it is estimated that over 50% of Ghanaians live in substandard houses. Government, acting through the Ministry of Works and Housing, has recognized the dream of all Ghanaians to own a home, or at least to have a decent rental accommodation. The good news, Mr. Chairman, is that it is never too late, in my view, to pick up the pieces from where we are now and to challenge you, the developers, in partnership with all other stakeholders, to embark on a crusade to confront the worsening deficit.
Among stakeholders which participated in the breakfast meeting include HFC Bank, Omni Bank, MTN Ghana and Tonaton.com. Reporting for Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
The Trade Ministry is appealing to the United States government to help convince businesses in their country to invest in opportunities here in Ghana. According to Deputy Minister of Trade, Carlos Ahinkra, the environment is now ripe for these investors to make some good returns on their investments. Mr. Ahinkra was speaking at the official opening of the office of Harley-Davidson, an American motorcycle manufacturing company based in Accra.
Harley-Davidson's entry into the Ghanaian market is expected to have a positive impact on the local automobile industry. The move would also help local businesses tap into the expertise of such renowned international automobile firms. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Carlos Ahinkra challenged the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, to play a leading role in attracting more American businesses into the country.
Well, I mentioned that with the speech given by the President, it is only important that the ambassador helps us to get more U.S. interest into Ghana. And I think that is a call in the right direction because as we speak, U.S. investors are looking for enabling environments to go and invest their money. And I think Ghana serves as a better place for them to come and invest. when he was giving his speech, he mentioned inaugurating companies like Pizza Hut, a few of the American investments in Ghana here. I want to see bigger ones like McDonald's coming. I want to see bigger ones like international trucks coming. I want to see a lot more bigger investments coming into Ghana.
On his part, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, urged government to do more in the assembling sector.
I'm really excited about this. So this is the 9th American company that's opened its doors here in the last 2 years. I think that there's a great niche to be filled here. So, you know better than I do that vehicles are assembled here in Ghana. There's no reason why Harleys can't be assembled here in Ghana, but we've got to grow the market enough so that it makes sense for them to be assembled here.
For Chief Executive of the authorized distributor of the motorbikes, GMEA Group, Wissam Laba, the company is looking at creating more employment as it expands in the country.
Well, Harley-Davidson is an iconic brand, and I think everyone knows what the brand is all about, and it's been around for over 115 years. And these bikes are really the sweetest bikes you can actually drive. I mean, we have good roads in Ghana. It's not like we don't have. You can go to Aburi, you can go to Takoradi, you can go wherever you want. The roads are really good. The bikes are made for it. Look, I guess as we grow, naturally, employment will grow with us. And if the market grows as much as we anticipate, we'll be opening in other areas too.
Ghana is the first in West Africa to receive Harley-Davidson and the second across Africa. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
And that's it for business for tonight. Many thanks for joining me. My name is Emmanuel Boakye. Have a good evening.
A circuit court in Kofi has sentenced 3 illegal miners to 4 years each in prison for illegally mining in the Tua forest. The convicts are to also pay a fine of 36,000 cedis each. Correspondent Kofi was in court and has filed this report.
Appearing before the Koforidua Circuit Court B, the convicts Kofi Abraham, 21, Yao Efrifa, 28, and Bismarck Jemfi, 21, all pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit crime, illegal mining, and mining without license. The prosecutor, Kwesi Opariredu, told the court, presided over by Her Honor Mercy Adekote, that the complainant, who is a Forestry Services official in charge of the Etiwa Range Forest Reserve, arrested the culprit on February 26, 2018. The officers retrieved a pumping machine, pickaxe, 4 metal buckets, a washing carpet, shovel, and headpan at the time of arrest. The 3 convicts, before their sentence, pleaded with the court to forgive them because they engaged in the act to get money to feed themselves. The Begro District Manager of the Forest Service Department, Kwame Otinewua, narrated how the convicts were arrested.
3 days ago, we had information about reoccurrence of resurfacing or reappearance of the illegal miners at Boma portion of the Atiwa Forest Reserve. And upon the receipt of the information, the officer in charge of the range organized the rapid response team together with some forest guards, and they went to the site. At the site, there were 3 men busily operating with their equipment, extracting gold. That is, the processes were in progress. So they were arrested and brought to the Kwabin police.
He said the sentence will spur them on in their duty to protect the forest.
They have been sentenced 4 years imprisonment each and 3,000 penalty units in addition. This is the good news for Forest Commission, since it is so deterring that people, prospective offenders, when they hear of these punitive measures, may be scared and will not proceed in the illegal activities at Atiwa Forest.
Kofi Sian's report for Joy News.
The Ministry of Finance has released some 80 88 million cedis to clear arrears of caterers of the school feeding program in parts of the country. The amount, which is to settle arrears from September to December 2017, will be disbursed soon. Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection Otiku Afise Jaba announced at a press briefing to launch the Ghana strand of this year's International Day of Women celebrations that beginning this term, all students in public schools across the country will have a cocoa beverage each school day.
We must secure today and ensure that the school feeding program is sustainable and that good, nutritious meals, hot, are produced. And I want to use today to tell our caterers and the public that finally, the Ministry of Finance has released 88 million for the caterers for September to December. We want to use this day to apologize to them for the delay. It is because we met a huge debt and there is the need to manage things. And so we have put in mechanisms to ensure that payments are more timely. And indeed, for the first time in the history of Ghana, school feeding has been increased to 1 cedi. It used to be 30 pesos and then 50, 80 pesos, and now it is 1 cedi. We are also going to give the children 1 cocoa drink a day of school-going days. This is as the instigation of our President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Indeed, the Ministry of Finance has allocated 423 million for school feeding caterers for 2018 budget. All our money is in school feeding. For the rest of the ministry's many activities of children, alleged witches, the parks, the orphanages, and whatnot, the allocation is 2.3 million. That tells you the government's commitment to ensure that we feed our children of school-going age adequately. We will fight for an increase in that amount, but whilst we are at it, we will plead with the caterers to make sure that they cook every school-going day, and that whether the payments come on time or not, they will cook hot, nutritious meals, and Ghana will thank them forever.
Well, the ministry has declared a zero tolerance for female genital mutilation in the country. According to the sector minister, the 27.8% prevalence rate of the activity in the Upper East region is alarming. She wants all stakeholders, including traditional leaders, to put their shoulders to the wheel in eradicating it totally.
I just returned from Pusiga, where FGM is still on the tables. FGM, female genital cutting, that is hazardous to the lives of girls and women. FGM that has no benefit whatsoever, but just to reassure our male folk that women must still wear chastity belts and that in terms of fidelity, a woman must have her parts cut off and it affects her health in terms of childbearing and other diseases related. And so, we are here to say that we have made significant and tremendous progress as women. It is disheartening and dispiriting to learn that this despicable and dehumanizing practice, FGM, is now 27.8% in the Upper East, when the national average is 3.8%. We must totally eradicate these heinous and negative and harmful cultural practices against our girls and women, Ghana 61 years on.
The Ghana Health Service has confirmed the death of 1 person following the outbreak of Lassa fever. The disease is said to be endemic in West Africa, and people are being advised to do all they can to rid their homes of rodents. The Ghana Health Service in February placed all health facilities in the country on high alert after a test at the Noguchi Memorial Institute confirmed the Lassa fever-related death. Joy News' Jacqueline Johnson-Quay has been speaking with some members of the public on their knowledge of the disease after she attempted getting updates from the Ghana Health Service.
There's been a report of a victim who died today at the Tema General Hospital as a result of Lassa fever. Attempts by Joy News to get authorities from the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service to talk to us has proved futile. We're trying to get more information on the situation and would update you as it comes in.
I've never heard of anything about Lassa fever before, but I just read it on the news this morning that one person died from Lassa fever in Accra. It would have been good if the ministry come out to explain to and then give us the ways and means of preventing ourselves from this disease.
I heard about the fever spreading somewhere in Nigeria. The ministry haven't come out to say anything about it. Most Ghanaians don't know about it. So I think they should come out more. I was just checking online, I heard one person has died. The person might have contacted it, giving it to another person, to another person, to another person. Are they doing the trace to know where the person is coming from? What are they doing? They should come out because we don't want to cause fear and panic.
I'm worried because this thing should get to the authorities, higher authorities, so that they take measures in preventing it. So I pray, as you are doing this, it will get to those it's supposed to get to, so that they work on it, so that this problem or this Lassa fever will not be a big problem in Ghana now.
President Akufo-Addo's dream of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa is starting Friday with a cleanup exercise in government institutions. The whole country is then expected to join in the exercise on Saturday to make the country clean. Water and Sanitation Minister Kofi Adda says the exercise forms part of activities marking Ghana's 61st independence anniversary. Addressing the media, he charged the country to make cleaning the environment a daily activity.
Some of the refuse heaps that were so visible in Accra, for instance, the Mala Market, Adedemko, Glife, Trinity College, we spend significant sums of money to go and clear those sites. That's an effort to support what the Mayor of Accra is doing. Those were more or less stopgap measures that we had to do to clear certain environments of the city. It's about time for us to roll out the cleaning exercise. And as said by the President, every day is a sanitation day. We do not intend to come here today and announce that we're going to have a cleanup day on such and such a day and end it there. We want to begin a program that will roll on and get everybody to be involved to continue to do what they need to do to make the country clean on a day-to-day basis. As we speak, the major activities that we want to undertake to commence this exercise, to clean the country and to make Accra the cleanest city, involve tomorrow, Friday, us leading by example, by us, I mean the ministry and the leaders of government, to begin within the ministerial enclave in Accra to clean up the minister's area.
Accra Mayor Mohamed Hajay Soa says logistics will be provided to ensure debris from the cleanup will be collected and disposed of after the exercise.
Our officers have also got enough equipment and logistics to support the operation in the Central Business District. It will interest you to note that this is a citywide exercise because it appears that in this country, on every National Sanitation Day, you will see heaps of refuse coming out from various homes and to be dumped on the roadside for us to evacuate. We have anticipated this thing happening, and for that matter, we are not leaving any stone unturned. We are procuring enough logistics and equipment to be able to evacuate every refuse that will be seen on the street, apart from the exercise and the targeted area that we have earmarked. Honorable Minister, we are not just cleaning the city, but we are also desilting the drains. I would also like to inform you that just this week, we have also awarded contracts to all for the desilting of all tertiary drains within the Central Business District.
Meanwhile, the committee supervising the organization of the Ghana 61 Independence Anniversary has been outlining activities to mark the week-long celebration. Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari will be special guest for the traditional 6th March parade. Director of Operations at the Presidency, Lord Kome, says that he expects a colorful celebration.
This time around, the Ghana Armed Forces and all the security agencies would want to give us something special because we are moving to another level. Also because of the theme that the President put on this very year's celebrations. They are doing so well, and you are also invited to come and observe the exercise, the rehearsals, one of which is coming on tomorrow. There will be a last rehearsal on Sunday to wrap up as we get ourselves in readiness for the Tuesday. So there will be fireworks across all regions. The famous torch that was lit here, Ghana 60 years on, will be received finally at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, and there will be fireworks across that would end the Ghana 60 years, the dawn of the 5th of March, so that the 6th of March becomes a new day for the people of Ghana.
Acting Upper West Region Minister is worried over the indiscriminate cutting of trees close to tourist sites in the region. Citing the case of the Wechao Hippo Sanctuary, he said illegal logging by chainsaw operators along the habitat of the Hippo Sanctuary poses a threat to the survival of the animals. Speaking at the 2017 Tourism Awards night in Wa, Amidu Chinai Isahaku called on the stakeholders to work to ensure that the activities of chainsaw operators are stopped. Join News Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The Regional Tourism Awards scheme set up by the Ghana Tourism Authority, GTA, is to reward deserving industry practitioners and other stakeholders who have demonstrated excellence and also shown commitment towards the growth of the industry. The awards under the theme Promoting Responsible Tourism brought together industry players, including hoteliers, restaurant and fast food owners, and car rentals. Upper West Regional Manager of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Henley Yeldow, emphasized the value of recognizing and rewarding champions of exceptional service.
One of the biggest fundamental elements of excellence is respect and care for our customers. There is absolutely no way that one can divorce successful business practices from quality service. And it is common cause that good customer service surely builds enduring customer loyalty.
Acting Upper West Regional Minister, in a speech read on his behalf by the One Municipal Chief Executive, Alhaji Tairu Isaku Mumin, says the Upper West region stands to gain a lot in the promotion of tourism.
More needs to be done to promote these sites. Government alone cannot do it, and therefore require the partnership of our stakeholders to develop these sites.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, in an address read on his behalf by the Upper East Regional Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Alhaji Akim Ismail, spoke of plans to boost the tourism sector.
The Ghana Tourism Authority is taking steps to enhance the visitors' experience through establishment of highway rest stops along the major highways corridors and the upgrading of tourism sites in the region. It is also collaborating with the Ghana Civil Aviation to revise the guidelines in the operation of all air charters to encourage more leisure trips and travels.
18 deserving operators from the sector were rewarded. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Have you ever thought of the quality of air you breathe besides the occasional foul smell? Well, we know of a tech solution just for that purpose, and this is made by a Ghanaian. The air pollution sensor detects and issues warnings about harmful gases in the atmosphere in real time, an innovation which could have prevented the numerous gas explosions recorded in the country. Gifty Andor Pia has the rest of the story for Tech Thursday.
An explosion that shook the country and shocked the world. The depressingly familiar sight of 7th October 2017, 7 souls perished, 132 people were critically injured, and government searched for solutions. A statement released the next day said the country ought to, quote, deploy technology to ensure the use of gas and safety of our citizens, unquote. That explosion was actually preceded by 7 others recorded in the country since 2014.
can sense several chemicals in the
A lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Mark Boakye, has built an air pollution sensor that detects harmful gases in the atmosphere.
So like CH4, carbon dioxide, ozone and other stuff. And the idea was to build this so we can put in rooms, in the factories, also at filling stations and other stuff, so we could be measuring real-time values of what is there. There are some gases we cannot sense them early enough. We cannot know what's happening. So this is meant to be reading and monitoring the results in real time.
Not that it's a new invention, but there is none for purchase here in Ghana. Air pollution sensors usually cost between $500 to $1,000. Yet, this one manufactured by Dr. Boakye could cost you less. The device has an inbuilt alarm and set threshold system.
And once those thresholds are reached, an alarm could be sounded to give a warning that probably the air is not good, you should get away, or probably a gas is leaking, so you need to get away or take safety measures.
Apart from the sensors, everything else was locally procured. The Minister for Science, Technology and Innovations, Dr. Frimpong Boakye, has requested for the device to be tested by experts at the ministry.
And also in Parliament and at the Cabinet. We want to miniaturize it, then we could get it around.
With this national commitment, one can hope it's only a matter of time that this tech solution becomes available on the Ghanaian market and hopefully for exports.
If you look at, like I was saying, the filling stations, that's more important. If you get it in your kitchen, it will help. Also factories, most factory workers, they work in an enclosed space. That can also help us know. And also along dam sites and construction sites, particularly road construction, have lots of dust and particulate matter in the air. And we don't know how much, so we don't know how they are impacting the lives of people who live close by.
Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Sinai, in the Bonahafu region.
And in the headlines, Police Director of Operations Dr. George Okufu-Dampare, now the Director General of Research and Planning, in a shake-up in command positions that affected 10 other top cops in the wake of recent armed attacks that left the public anxious about their safety. A meeting of security capos chaired by the Vice President has meanwhile outlined a 7-point approach to tackle the crisis, including an enhanced Operation Calm Life. Three legal miners have been sentenced in Kofi for mining in the Etiwa Forest Reserve. In business, monitoring task force of GRA grants 3-month grace period to suppliers of products to be affected by tax stamp policy implementation as the policy rolls out successfully on Thursday.